You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. We channeled Jane Goodall, and instead of receiving bits of wisdom, something happened that was completely unexpected. We're still reeling from the implications of this connection with her. We talked about chimpanzees' emotions that she observed, but she was soundly rejected and received so much criticism and judgment about her findings. Will these new revelations be important to you? I know they are to me. The Alliance, is trying to facilitate an awakening for you personally. Will it happen? Listen to the end and find out. Jason, how did this channeling session suddenly change direction?
So we started by asking, so we did it our normal way. We sat down and we were going to channel Jane, and Jane, will you talk to us? And, blah, blah, blah. And we started, and there was this huge resistance.
Huge.
Now, from my perspective, I was asking questions, and Patricia was there looking confused, and then she started talking, but this talking didn't make sense.
And I vaguely remember not the confusion, but that there was talking going on in my head, so to speak. I was talking to Jane, but she wasn't making complete sentences. She wasn't, and I could feel the resistance in all of it. And it actually made me very uneasy because that's not usually what I get from someone that connects with me. I usually get, hey, I want to tell you everything, from start to finish about my life, or can we talk about why this happened or that?
Exactly.
I didn't get that at all. And it made me uneasy. And then I was starting to clear what the resistance was.
And I kept asking questions.
Yes.
And Patricia was looking blank. And what's sometimes, a lot of times when you're channeling, I can connect directly with the person too. So I'm filling in the sentences and things like that, and the words and that as they come through,
or using better words.
Yeah. Well, you're translating energy into words.
I am.
And so sometimes I just help with that. But that's
that is not what happened here.
No. And I said, well, what's going on? What's going on? And I couldn't tell. And this is not normally the case. Who was talking? Was it Patricia or was it Jane?
Right.
And because I didn't know if it was that you weren't understanding what she was saying or what was happening.
Right.
And then you finally kind of almost did an aside.
I did. I remember I whispered to you. I said, this feels like sexual abuse. And
it just changed the whole energy. I mean, the energy was there already, but then it's like, oh.
And what it started to feel like, and Jason said this later on, but it started to feel like that we were, in its way, providing comfort for a ghost. But usually, I mean, that person is right in front of me, and I couldn't get her to stay. And by the way, Jason and I have worked with all types of sexual abuse over the years. Yes, exactly.
And when we talk to someone, we don't talk superficially like what's the weather like, blah blah blah.
No,
we can see, so we go right there.
And that's where people need us to go right there.
Yes.
And that is not what I was receiving at all. There was this form of, and you
can't talk about this.
You can't. You not only can't talk about this, and we're gonna talk about it in just a minute. But you can't talk about this because that isn't the way it's done. It isn't what's right.
It's not the rules.
There's not.
It's against the rules.
All of them. And the truth is, I don't have any fear when I'm talking to someone. that I'm going to say the wrong thing or see the wrong thing. But normally I do not receive this type of resistance at all.
And we've always known that this
Yes.
resistance to talk about sexual abuse, any sort of sexual activity that was felt shameful or
That
whatever,
is correct.
Is from the dark. That's dark energy.
Absolutely.
You know, people don't normally do that.
Correct.
By choice.
Yes.
Even though they feel like I've done something wrong, and
Right.
and our culture is such that if the woman gets, from a logical standpoint, it's so crazy. If the woman gets raped, she thinks it's her fault.
Oh,
I mean that
absolutely.
that there's no logic there at all.
Well, and here's the other part. One of the things that Jason and I have questioned, we've seen, but we've questioned more than once, that we all have been taught that when you step to the other side, you step and you just let go of everything.
Everything clears out. Yeah.
That you've held on to here. And what else goes along with this is we also believe that we only have a chance at one lifetime. Well, first off, I want to say that's not true at all.
It's not what we see.
It's not what we see.
It's not like we believe in this
Not
or
the
believe in
truth
this.
that I've seen. Let me say it
we
that
go
way.
and look, and that's not what we see at all.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. And Jane was the one that showed me it so clearly that this trauma that she had endured, more than once, by the way, that she was carrying it with her, and she was struggling just to breathe a real breath, so to speak. By the way, that's not exactly what happens, but that's the best way for me to describe it. You know how when you can't catch your breath? This is the way she was trying to talk to me. She was trying to tell me, but she couldn't get like a full word out. She couldn't get a full emotion out.
We were just talking about this before we were recording here, but about the way she died.
Yes.
Because it just happened recently. I think it was in the first part of October.
Right around there, yes, I think so.
Of 2025.
Yes.
And they said it was natural causes. She died in her sleep, and her secretary found her. That doesn't feel what happened. That doesn't feel like that's what happened at all.
You know what? And Jason, so let's go into the next section, because sorry, we're gonna
here's another
connect
thing
with
that
this.
was just
it's
an amazing story.
right. So Jason, what happened? Was she able to compose herself?
So I started to talk to take the pressure off of her. It wasn't like a typical channeling session.
No, not at all.
You know, but when someone can't talk and they're supposed to be having a conversation, the other person fills in to make so they don't feel bad.
At ease, so to speak. Yes. It's never our intention to make someone feel ill at ease.
Yes, and typically this wasn't a typical channeling session as it was.
Not
Okay,
at all.
And she did this the last time. She wants a discussion. I'll say something, then she'll say something.
Yes,
and
yes.
Most people when you channel, they'll say and blah 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 blah. This is what I want to say.
and
You know,
then
blah blah,
that's,
and then
you know,
that's it.
Exactly.
But
That wasn't the case.
We have this illusion that humans and scientists can remove their emotions from their objective observations. And that's where I started with this. I wanted to talk about a bias in science. And
Jason asked the question.
Yes.
Jane, tell me about the bias in science, is what he said. And she, for lack of a better way to say it, raised her voice, which is not her way at all. And she said,
no, it wasn't just raised her voice.
Okay, I was trying to be.
No, don't do that.
Okay.
So she yelled at me.
She did. She said, "You can't look at life without emotion, Jason."
And then I said, as kind of a devil's advocate, but science says you must look without emotion.
And she yelled even louder, which was, it stunned me. She said, "They're wrong." And I looked at Jason, and he looked at me, and we both, our mouths dropped open. And she said, "I am very angry about this. I couldn't show my anger. about this. Do you realize how many times I had to shift from female thinking, by the way, which is often called emotional thinking, into a style and an approach that was male left brain, just to be heard?
She was enraged.
She was enraged. And I have to tell you, the intensity of the enraged, the dogs were both sitting with us laying down, and they both raised their head up.
What's going on?
Yeah, and it was overwhelming.
And this is what we were talking about before the show started.
Yes.
We can see that, we know that people can die from a broken heart.
Absolutely.
Well, this is rage. And you can call it a broken heart. You can call it shame. You can call it guilt. You can
being stifled.
It's a whole confluence of negative emotion.
Yes.
We see now that she was trying to process that, and it overwhelmed her.
Well, and the other part is that when she couldn't process it here, there was no allowance or rules for that one. It wasn't until she got to the other side. And so
it's coming out now.
It is, and it's still coming out. I know we have more to hear from Jane.
There's more to this story that's really
Jason,
interesting.
Give me the conclusions of this segment.
Jane Goodall was reluctant to talk about the bias in science because it relates to her male bias and domination, to the male bias and domination in science.
Yes.
Without giving the details of a sexual abuse she encountered because she was overwhelmed with shame and guilt, she described how she had to shift her style and approach just to be heard.
Yes.
This is not objectivity.
No.
She took issue with science because she had to take out her emotions, which created a lack of objectivity rather than more objectivity.
Correct.
And the male dominance within the scientific community contributed to this lack of objectivity. If you take something out, how can you be objective about it? How can you see it?
In other words, take out a fact of this or that.
Yes. We are still considering what this male energy distortion means for those listening now. Has it affected you? And will it affect you in the future?
Exactly. So, with all of that said, there we go. In the next segment, we're going to talk about channeling Jane and how it wasn't just about chimpanzees' emotions, but much more important aspects of science that is barely accepted.
Yeah.
This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Network. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about channeling Jane Goodall, yes, and how it wasn't just about chimpanzees' emotions, but a much more important aspect of science that is barely accepted.
Oh my gosh.
What did she say about male/female relationships in the chimpanzee world, Jason?
So she was giving us background. It was like she went into this scientific mode.
That's right.
That was safe. That was safe for her.
Yes.
And that's probably not the right word. It was familiar.
Very much.
So took the emotional pressure off.
And you know what I felt? I felt that there was things calmed down.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So she was kind of lecturing like a male child was accepted easily. Now she's talking about a chimpanzee child, but if there was a female child and there was anything wrong with it, it had to be put to death. This happened in numerous chimp communities. Female chimpanzees could not have had their head above a male, and their social groups were organized in a hierarchical manner.
Very
so,
much.
in other words, the females had a hierarchical group.
Yes.
The thing that came to my mind, Mean Girls. You know the movie.
Oh.
So, anyways, a hierarchical female chimp group.
Okay.
And then. So same thing with the males, and
well, and also I want to throw in there because I remember that she was trying to describe how in the female group often it appeared although it was never called that, but there was a queen of
That's her word, so we can understand it. Yeah.
exactly of the female groups.
And there was a
So,
male who was also dominant. So
very much so.
And then she talked about how when birthing happened, the females, it was females only.
Yes.
Males were not part of it. And this social structure was never observed before.
No, it wasn't.
And one of the things she told us is that when she first presented this, they said she was lying. I mean,
Right.
oh my
They
gosh.
did.
She,
They did.
they
I
said,
forgot about that.
I mean,
Yeah.
why would they, that sounds so unscientific to me. Just by the way. So, and this is, I kept asking her, okay, did she see male female relationships as gender bias? And she said no.
Yes.
Which surprised me. It was survival.
Yes. And when she said no, I remember very clearly it wasn't no, and she slammed her hand down. She was like, no, but it was survival.
And she talked about how the male had to fight for his position.
Yes.
So if he would even kill his brother
That's correct.
for that role, and there was never more than one male
At a time.
male who was in charge at a time, and so. And I didn't even talk to you about this. I got this after. Well, yes, I did.
Okay.
It was that imbalance. We think of dark energy as is there dark energy there? Yes or no? It's not that way.
Well, because it doesn't always appear. Remember, dark energy does not appear.
Doesn't say here I am. It
Yes,
never says
and
here
it
I
never
am.
labels itself. That sort of thing.
So that strict role differentiation between males and females, I see, comes from dark energy. That hierarchical
Yes.
and the meanness of it comes from dark energy.
Well, and that when we were talking about the queen a minute ago, or mentioning the queen a minute ago, she Jane was showing me that she had this mean girl aspect. You're not allowed to do this. You're not
Oh,
allowed
yeah.
to do that. In other words, my way or the highway
Yeah.
type thing. And a female could take another female out or put her in a place where everyone knew she had done something wrong.
And by the way, you're getting this in real
I am
time.
in real time right
So
now.
she's talking. I mean, this is happening to us. It's
All
kind
the
of
time.
exhausting. I mean, we want to be able to turn off at some point.
Yes,
but
yes.
they're coming in more and more. So
yes.
but
Well, and there's one more part of this. Jane said to me, I didn't believe that social structures, that what she observed was accurate. And
no,
yet,
it's not. She didn't. The scientific
at
community said
first she observed, and they
Yeah.
said that can't be true.
Yes.
And but it is true. And by the way, I think that if people would observe, they would see that it's everywhere.
Well,
Meaning, this is dark energy.
Well, and a whole rainbow of other things. She also said that they could feel your emotions, and
Yes.
again, that's
Oh.
another part that was not accepted at all.
Well, and did we talk about, I think it was in another show, we talked about the females did not want Jane's observation. They were afraid she was going to take their babies from them.
Yes, that's
female
kind of
to female.
It's kind of a different subject, but not really.
Not really.
There's a hierarchy there.
There,
and,
exactly.
know.
And by the way, they didn't know where to. Jane observed that the females did not know where to put her in
their thinking
their
process.
thinking and,
Yes.
and how she was. But
They knew she was female.
right. So,
But so my motivation
okay.
was to talk about the bias of science and subtle energies.
All right.
Okay. And typical male, typical silly me, that's where I was going. I thought, oh yeah, we're going to talk about this, and it, it didn't go there at all.
Correct.
But and I said to her, and this is where the conversation started. The philosophy of science is to be open-minded, objective, dispassionate, and clearly, what we're talking about here are biases and prejudices that are significant.
Correct.
And it's not. This wasn't a bias about subtle energy.
No.
But here's what kind of changed the conversation.
Okay.
I said, Jane, emotions are subtle energies. And it's like, what?
And
What?
the irony is that it was, you could see a form, it took her a second, and then you could see this light bulb went off. And it was so, it was amazing to see that she finally realized that he and I understood what she was going through.
And what she was talking
Because
about.
she knew, and there's a really big point here. She knew that Jason and I understand and can see and feel subtle energies.
And it's, to us, it's so obvious.
It
also,
is, yes.
just like it was to her.
Yes. About what she observed. Yes.
Our dogs know when we're in a bad mood. We don't have to say.
Yeah.
We don't have to set them down and say, "I'm not. I'm pretty angry today."
I'm having a bad day.
We don't have to say that at all. They just know.
They know. And don't tell me that that's not subtle energy communicating.
Well, and
because it is.
I started to explain to her that empathy was a form of exchange of subtle energies.
Yes.
That your intuition is aware of what other people's emotions are.
Right.
And it's ironic that, and this is, well, no, it's not. It's, I've seen enough engineers and scientists.
Yes.
Who are just emotionally closed off.
Absolutely.
And this typically men, but just completely.
Oh, I've seen women be the same.
But completely closed off because they're so focused on data and metrics and measurements that they don't get the all this other stuff that's around there.
Correct.
And that's part of objectivity.
Exactly.
You can't just say, I'm only going to look at one thing and I'm going to get the proper conclusion if you ignore all the other stuff that's going on around.
Right.
So we're going to talk we're going to talk about more.
A lot more.
Let me tell you, we're going to talk a lot about this.
So I have a question that's completely, we're going to go backwards.
This is the big part, I think.
It really is. And so, Jason, what happened when Jane spoke about the pain of abuse?
Well, and I think you should talk about this because you're the one that saw it first, and it just touched my heart, and I was amazed,
Yes.
amazed, but not really. So,
and now,
okay, and it was funny because when she was channeling Jane about the abuse, Patricia literally started to cry. And she does that a lot when she's channeling. She is very emotional.
I am,
and it's not her crying.
I can feel
it's not
her
that's
pain.
crying.
It
Yes,
just comes through.
So that's her expressiveness about what's happening.
Exactly. And the thing that's the most amazing to me, I didn't expect this one at all, but RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Eleanor Roosevelt rushed in to comfort Jane when she started talking about the abuse. And I'm talking about sexual abuse, everyone.
She didn't give us any details. She didn't want to.
And she's not ready for that yet. And that's okay.
And I'm not sure that's important at this point.
But let's put it this way. When someone has been abused, there is a spot in their heart, in the essence of who they are, that they don't want to go back there and visit it.
It's like an open wound.
It is definitely an open wound. And the thing that amazed me was that RBG and Eleanor both, they said, it's okay. We can talk about this. And
because they understood.
They did. And what that tells me is they have an understanding of abuse, of
this male dominance
and negative
that
energy.
Colors what you can see and what you can't see.
And what you can say.
Yes.
And what you can't say.
Yes.
And even what you can do. So I want everyone to understand with great clarity that negative energy, first off, is on both sides.
It's always on both sides of an issue.
Always. And the other thing is that negative energy doesn't have quite the power on the other side. I'm talking about when you die and you step to the other side. It doesn't have quite the power, but it doesn't keep those that are connected to it from still feeling pain.
One of the things that we found out, and then we're going to go to the conclusion, but
all right.
One of the things that we found out is that our clearing process that we use with the ecosystem approach
Yes.
is even more effective
On the other side.
on the other side.
And by the way, that doesn't mean you have to die to get rid of things.
Yes.
That's not what we're saying.
And you know, if you're excited about this,
Yes.
if you're getting this, you know, this is the time. We're going to tell you in the next segment how you can sign up for a newsletter and subscribe to our channel.
Correct.
There's more stuff coming. This is a fascinating story, and we're just scratching the surface. Oh my gosh!
So with that said, Jason, what is the conclusion?
The channeling session with Jane Goodall took a stunning turn, shifting from subtle energies to deep-seated trauma of male abuse that she endured within the scientific community. Her anguish was so profound, it transcended death, revealing that such pain remains with your essence or your soul. This raw revelation, which drew in Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Eleanor Roosevelt to comfort her, exposed a devastating and pervasive bias against women in science and law and politics, and I'm sure other sectors of the community. A prejudice that fundamentally distorts accepted thought patterns and challenges our very understanding of how the world truly functions.
In the next segment, we're going to talk about Jane Goodall, the exclamation, "You can't look at life without emotions." We're going to talk about that some more. What does that mean for you? What are the implications of that statement? This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Network. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about Jane Goodall's exclamation that, quote, "You can't look at life without emotions." What does that mean for you? What are the implications of that statement? Well, Jason, what are the implications of "you can't look at life without emotions"?
So it started a whole discussion.
It sure
But
did.
I want to talk to the audience for a minute.
Okay.
If you've ever been criticized, judged, told you were too emotional, you've been told that a lot, I know. And that it wasn't appropriate or whatever, it's not true. We may not have the weight of authority that you may think that you need, but the truth is that emotionality is not necessarily an enemy. Now, sometimes when dark energy jumps in with emotionality, it can go to a place that is not functional whatsoever.
Right.
And you have a whole family like that. So, it's just it's something to be considered. But it started a whole discussion with her about how emotions were type of subtle energy, and everything, all matter had subtle energies attached to them. We've seen this since we've been doing this work. It's not new, really. But for a scientist, it means that in the pursuit of objectivity, they cannot deny their emotions.
Exactly.
They only numb out from them.
Or the emotions of a situation.
Right. So the emotions are there, but they can't see them.
No.
They become invisible. That's not objectivity.
No.
I'd like any scientist to come forward, put it in the comments and suggest to us, give us a good argument why denying your emotions when they're present and acting upon you is more objective than acknowledging your emotions and
dealing with them
and working with them in some way.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I think and that's huge. And right. I know so many women. So it's not just women. They're men who have been emotional, that sort of thing.
Correct.
Who've been rejected, criticized, judged, and that's what Jane is saying. She had this emotional connection with the chimpanzees from the very beginning. But it wasn't just chimpanzees, dogs, other animals,
yes.
With the ecosystem of the world, and she could see it, she could feel it.
Yes.
And it's really about the nature of reality, that there's a presumption that science has created. This is the bias, that reality cannot be seen
objectively.
That there is some sort of object objective truth with no emotions.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
not
not
life,
true.
everyone.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what does that mean practically? Well,
Yes.
we're gonna talk about how we do it. Okay.
Okay, all right.
This is kind of commonplace for us, but it's just it's a biggie. Patricia has a really lush garden. I mean, it's our next door neighbors, when they said that they moved in, they drove in to look at the house next door, and they saw her garden and said, "Oh my gosh, we
Yeah.
have to live here." So tell us what you do with your garden.
Well, there's a couple of things I do with my garden. First off, I try and visit my garden every day, even in the winter. But during the summer, of course, I'm making sure it has water and all those things.
That's not the
That's
point.
the practical part.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I do is if I see that something's struggling, I will, what's going on? Well, I went out today and one of my rose bushes, I actually have one. My apologies. My rose bush is not doing well, and so I'm talking to it. I'm asking it.
You're talking to it. That's the point.
I'm talking to it. I'm asking, what's going on here? Well, I finally
You're
figured
asking
out,
the plant what's going on.
I am, and the plant basically said, "Have you looked at the amount of sun that is, during the summertime, the sun hits this part of the property, but it doesn't during the winter. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to go move my plant,
Well,
and water it, of course.
We just, there are things in our yard that are living that we talk to
All the time.
and that just seems normal to us. It's
Yes.
not abnormal. It's not crazy.
Well, exactly. Okay, so
And if you do that, I just want to suggest that. Okay, the other part is, and we've been doing this for a long time, and it's been
Correct.
successful.
very
We look at human emotions to diagnose disease and illness.
Mm-hmm.
So when your family is sick, and they've been getting sick a lot lately because everybody's getting older,
yes,
and we can see from the way their personality and their emotions,
that is correct.
what they're open to and what they deny, and how that relates to what's the
Going on.
symptoms
That's
that are
right.
being created.
With them.
And when we have symptoms, we look at, well, what's behind it? What's the emotion behind it?
Exactly.
And we start to clear it.
And by the way, it works.
It works. It's so obvious to
Yes,
us.
it is.
We do it more and more. I think we have to write a book about this natural healing. It's
We
so
do.
obvious.
Yes.
And whether you use alternative medicine, traditional medicine,
Exactly.
it doesn't really matter.
Well, it can matter, but that has to be your choice.
Yes. Yeah.
Not somebody else's choice.
So,
And here's another one.
the cancer treatment with my daughter.
Correct.
And you may have heard this if you've been listening for a long time, but my daughter, when she was 14, had cancer. Her mother had just died 7 years early from that same cancer.
In the same place.
The cancer was in the same place. It was the same type of cancer. And the doctor said, well, we've never created any sort of
connection
link between, in terms of family link.
Right.
Genetic predisposition for
Right.
this type of cancer.
Right.
But here it was right in front of us.
Yeah.
So long story short, we used and this is way before I was doing this work, but we used an intuitive process, the craniosacral rhythm that a person has, and her acupuncturists were asked yes/no questions, and they were able to determine. They asked every time, "Have we had enough chemotherapy?" She was prescribed 6 cycles of chemotherapy. After 4, her body said, "No, I'm done. I don't need any more."
Right.
And so we stopped.
Well,
And the doctor said, he reported us to Child Protective Services that she'll die without these other 2 cycles.
correct.
Because that was the only they had no data
Right.
for 4 cycles. They only had data for 6 cycles.
Correct.
So he said she would die without it. Long story short, she's not dead. She had 2 amazing children. She was older. They were both high risk pregnancies because she was older, but she had.
First off, she's got amazing kids.
She has amazing kids, and kids were healthy,
And they are.
and
But
the birth was
there's
healthy,
one more
and
part of
everything.
this.
Yes,
There's one more part of this. I happened to be at home, and the phone rang, and it was the doctor, well, a part of his institution, we'll say it that way. And they asked me point blank,
She's still alive.
is she still alive? And I said, yeah, she's doing amazing. And they went, really?
They were surprised.
They were really
they expected
surprised.
her to die.
Yes, they did. And
so
she did fine. And she's, by the way, she's a phenomenal person.
but the point is that there was an energy that we read
And
that has an intelligence that's
Yes.
connected to to your personal body. Now, that same circumstance could happen with some other person,
right,
and that person could die,
right.
for different reasons.
Yes.
But when you read the energy, you can do those.
Well, we have one more that I want to
Okay.
talk about. My dog Ron,
Yes.
his name is Ron, and he's 10 years old, and he started not doing well, so we took him to the vet, and he ended up having to have a tooth pulled. Well, he also got a major infection up above the bone in his mouth, and so he had a little bit of extensive surgery type thing, and he was struggling. He truly was struggling. I feel bad for the little guy, but he, like me, we don't do well with pain medication at all, and so they said that I was supposed to give him so much medication for this many days. And I asked him, well, 2 days ago, I started asking him, do you still need this medication? And he told me on the first day I asked, yes, I do. I asked him yesterday and he said, no, I don't. And so I said, well, how about if I don't give you this in the morning, but I give it this pain medication before you go to bed? And he said he's fine with that. And so the bottom line is he's up and at 'em and he's raring to go. And he's a strong dog. So, yeah, I know we talked to, it's a little crazy. So
Okay.
another question.
Yeah.
How is what Jane said about the bias,
No. About the basis for the ecosystem approach.
about the basis for the ecosystem approach? And, she said, you can't look at life without emotions.
Yes.
Jason, how can we implement? And she said, how can we implement the ecosystem approach?
Because this is what it's all about.
Yes.
The ecosystem approach is looking at people, at their energy,
Yes.
and seeing them as a whole person, as an ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional medicine sees you as a machine with parts.
Yeah.
So if you have a bad part, you get rid of the part and you should be all better. But it doesn't work that way because you have an ecosystem that works
Yes.
together that includes, this ecosystem includes the subtle energies, which your emotions,
Yes.
your feelings, your beliefs, your personality. And that's the magic of the ecosystem approach, which is what we're doing. And this is so different than what we're told with self-help, which says be positive, activate gratitude, turn that smile upside down, or any way or other ways to think and feel. But what we do is when we say, okay, let's look at what the toxics are in your ecosystem, which is negative energy, dark
Yes,
energy,
yes.
and clear it away, then things change.
And sometimes they'll change like very quickly. I'm talking about within minutes. And sometimes it takes a lot longer.
Sometimes it's years,
Sometimes, but the point that we're getting at is when you change the energy, you can change the outcome.
And what that leaves is a healthy essence. And
Yes,
that
it
essence, you don't have to motivate yourself
Right.
then. Your essence knows what's important for you, what your
Yes.
purpose is, how to go forward, and
Yes.
it's constantly talking to you.
Exactly. Jason, what is the conclusion of all of this right now?
During our channeling sessions, Jane blurted out, Jason, why didn't I know you when I was alive? And she said that. She was really animate. Why wasn't there a male who could articulate it like that? And frankly, it's because we've been using the ecosystem approach and we understand this.
Correct.
I was talking about the ecosystem approach and how emotions were just a form of subtle energies, and we could work with them and remove the energies that don't serve us. We understand ecosystems beyond what is known today because we see humans as ecosystems
Yes.
that have emotions or subtle energies attached to them, and those energies are the way toward human evolution that has been invisible up to now. That's why Bashar, Abraham, and Seth are here. Jane Goodall faced significant ridicule for naming her subjects and observing their personality. She always fought for something that was like the ecosystem approach to come forward.
Exactly. In the next segment, we're going to talk about how Bashar, Abraham, and Seth all their stated purpose to prepare Earth to evolve and move forward, as well as Jane Goodall, and the work she did was to help create a more evolved perspective for chimpanzees and humans to have a greater understanding. It's time for you, if you're listening now, to have your own personal awakening. Let's get started. Let's get you started. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Network. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about how Bashar, Abraham, and Seth all had their stated purpose to prepare Earth to evolve. Jane Goodall and the work she did was to help create a more evolved perspective for chimpanzees and humans to have a greater understanding of emotions. It's time for you, if you're listening now, to have your own personal awakening.
We're going to help you do that by showing you how to clear and do some energy work right now.
Let's get started.
But if you want to stay connected with us, if this is getting you excited, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, we're talking about Jane Goodall, but we've got a whole list of people,
yes, we do.
that are teaming up together in the non-physical dimension, like Eleanor Roosevelt and Ruth Bader Ginsburg with Jane. I mean, they're forming a group, and they've got common, even though they're different areas of interest.
Correct.
They've got they're coming together and saying, okay, how does this happen to me and this happen to you? How can we make more sense of it? And they're going to tell us, and then we're going to share it with you.
Yes,
it's really, really empowering. So there's two things you could do. First, go subscribe to our newsletter. All we ask for is your email address. That's all there is. We're not going to spam you. We probably do something two to four times a month. And go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org. Sign up for our newsletter. There's a little link in the back on the bottom, and just give us your information. And then the other thing is, if you want to stay in touch with us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Ecosystem Approach with Jason and Patricia Roan. There's a little sun logo there, and we're going to be good. So
exactly.
It's going to.
And I want to say, not only do sign up, it would be amazing, but also tell a friend, listen with a friend, do the clearings with a friend. And I have to tell you, things will start coming up and you'll go, well, should I clear that? Or how do I clear that? Things like that. And just stay connected. We're going to help you with that.
What we know with all the work that we've done all these years is that your ecosystem needs other ecosystems to thrive.
Exactly.
And as you start removing the negative energy, they can both thrive better together.
Correct.
Correct.
So Jason, tell us how to do the clearing. It's actually very simple.
It's very simple. Your posture is not important. You can stand, sit, lay down, walk. We always do two things at once. We'll be clearing while we're taking the dogs for a walk in the morning.
Absolutely.
In the shower, all those things. And so it's most of it is done in your imagination. Right. So when we say to eliminate, in your imagination, take whatever we say to eliminate, whether it's an emotion, barriers, veils, and illusions, whatever it is, gather it up in your body and blow it into the processor. If you want to picture the processor, if you sign up for a newsletter, it's all there.
Yeah,
the words are going to be all there also,
Exactly.
and every week we'll put in all the clearings we've done for that week.
Exactly.
And you can have them so you can do them over and over again.
Okay,
and
so
the more you do it, the better off it is.
Absolutely. So Jason, go ahead.
Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see or remember a time in my life where I had an experience or feeling that I couldn't explain and denied because I thought it was crazy. Oh my gosh. Take a breath. By the way,
go ahead. You're clearing the crazy. It's not crazy.
It's not crazy, and that's your essence. That's the energy trying to talk to you.
Yes.
So
Okay. So, and to eliminate, I'm going to shorten it up, and to eliminate any fear I have, because I'll be having these experiences going forward, and I should trust myself and play with them for a while. In other words, try and understand them a little bit.
you don't have to be afraid.
Don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of out there. Take a nice breath and throw that negative energy. I've put it in my processor on my left side. It just works better that way for me. Jason?
And to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that these awakening experiences are becoming more frequent, and I'm being nudged and called to action.
Yes, you
Chances are, if you're listening to this already, you've already had them.
Yes.
It's time to trust them.
Yes, so
Don't deny them like the science community does.
Take a breath and blow them out. And to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that they could be a dream, a feeling, a sensation, a voice, or an intuitive hit that comes to me, or any strange experience, coincidence that happens that could be a message and a nudge to take action.
Yes.
To take action. Start taking care of yourself. Take a breath.
We had a client who always wanted to have a sign, but then when she got it, she didn't listen, because she wanted it to be in she wanted a legal document. She wanted a contract. She wanted something that was so clear and so specific, So, and to eliminate the veils and illusions, so I can see that the ecosystem approach is my connection to this process, and that I have to be connected so I can be part of the alliance here on Earth. We've created the alliance with Bashar, Abraham, and Seth, and then they helped us create this second alliance, which is a whole bunch of people that
Correct.
Maybe I should start putting those names on the newsletter.
We'll see.
Yeah, so we can look at those. So there's like 11 or 12, right? 13, I think, at last count.
Yes.
And these are famous people that are coming together from all different areas of all walks of life. So.
Correct. So nice and easy. Take a breath and blow it out. Now we're going to do one last thing. We're going to activate life force, the most powerful energy that any of us has the ability to use. It goes like this. Follow along. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force, so I can trust this awakening and know that it's important, even life-changing, but I don't have to have all the details about what I'm supposed to do. It's about the connection right now. Nice and easy. You're going to pull this one in through the top of your head. You're going to let it go all the way down your body. You're going to stop it. You're going to ask it to turn around. You're going to ask it to come back up your body. And in that, pick up negative energy and throw it away. Jason?
And to activate life force, so I can trust this awakening and be connected to the ecosystem approach by going online right now, signing for a newsletter, and subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Exactly.
And people saying subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us, and it helps our channel. And yes, it does all that stuff. But really, what we need is for you to be connected so that we can create this alliance here on Earth.
All of us.
Yes.
All of us.
Take a breath. This is happening. We have so many people over the years who have said, "Well, I got this hit, but I didn't trust it. I didn't believe it, or
Right.
I thought I was being crazy." They self-judge themselves. They don't have to have someone else tell them they're crazy. They think they're crazy.
Right. So, please join us every 2 weeks.
Yes.
1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is Transformation Network. And you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Living like an ecosystem is the key to a better life for you.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.